awesome artists. This week we are starting a new project because last week we finished up our zoomed in pop art candy bars. So this week we are starting something new, and this will be a little baby part of a bigger project that we will start next week. So this week we are going to look at perspective. We're going to practice some perspective before we get going on our bigger project next week. We have talked about perspective before in class. Do you know what it is? So perspective in art, we use it to fool the person that is looking at our art to think that something's either really close up, really far away, or really realistic. Our art this week will be using 1 point perspective. Here is my example. So 1 point perspective is all of the points are going into 1 point, which is right here. So all of the points, and that makes it look like our shapes are like shooting out. Here are some other examples that you could get inspired by. As you can see, you got lots of options of how you want to color it in, how you want to style it, maybe even what shapes you do. You could try bigger shapes, smaller shapes, shapes I didn't use. It's all really up to you. For this project, you will need a straight edge. So what that means is if you have a ruler, that's the best. Or if you don't, which is okay, you could also use a straight edge on, this is just a pad of paper. You could use a straight edge for this from a book, a folder. We just need a straight edge. So I use a pencil, a ruler, a Sharpie, and whatever I wanted to color it in with. Use whatever supplies you have. And let's get started on our 1 point perspective.
The first step is to draw your point. Just one little dot. It could be in the middle of the page or off to the side. That's up to you. Remember, you can pause this to catch up. There's some parts where I speed it up, so just pause it to get to where you need to go, and then you can resume. But after we have that 1 point, it's time to draw shapes all around that point. The easiest shape is a square or rectangle. After that, triangle is a little bit harder. And then if you like to get super hard, a star is very on the difficult level. Hard or rounded shapes are also on the harder level, but it's up to you on how difficult you want this project to be. You could do 4 shapes, or you could do 10 shapes. You could do big ones, small ones, up to you. They could be close together, far apart. It's really what you want to make it. You could go back in this video and look at those other examples I showed you to see which ones you want. After you have your shapes, this is a little tricky. So you are going to use your ruler or straight edge, and on the edge of your shapes, like that triangle point, you are going to make a line all the way to that dot. So all of the edges, the corners are all leading to that dot. As you can tell, it's easiest with like a square like that one, and a heart's a little bit more difficult. There's the triangle. If you need to, you could re-watch this to get a better look at what you're doing. And the star is the most difficult. So now you can see they're all leading into that 1 point. After you have this done and you're happy with it, and it's all in 1 point perspective, it's time to color it in, decorate it, make it your style, your colors, your design. So this is pretty sped up because it's really up to you. I would recommend, I used a color pencil for this to make it darker near that point. So almost like an ombre, so darker at the bottom and lighter on the top. And that makes it look like it is dark all the way at the tip, but lighter coming up. And now you can decorate it with whatever supplies you have, however you would like. I did use watercolors for the background. You could use watercolors if you have it. You could also do that marker hack where you draw a marker on plastic and paint with that marker ink. After the background, I decided I did want to add Sharpie, so I went back over my pencil marks to add that Sharpie to really define those shapes.
Way to go. I can't wait to see yours and how you finish them. Also, I'm looking to see if you correctly made your shapes into 1 point perspective. So if you were able to do that correctly or not. This is practice for next week. Like I said, next week we will be still using 1 point perspective, but a little bit different. Make sure you take a photo of it, your photo is straight, it is clear, and it is bright in your room. Make sure you submit this photo onto Google Classroom. I hope you had fun with this project. Bye.